It's another Raw video from your favorite YouTube Scout Draft Raw Authentic. Yes, finally making another one. This is part 2 of the top cornerback prospects in the 2018 NFL Draft. And like I said, this is a Raw video, so there will be no edits. Anyway, just straight Raw, straight through. If you're watching this video and this is after the draft, I made a part 1, so please check that out. And this is going to be part 2 of it. Now, first, I'm going to just name off the names of the players that I'm going to be talking about in this video. So if you don't hear the player that your team drafted in this video, then please check out part 1. Because that player will probably be in that video. But just getting into it, the guys that I'm going to talk about are going to be players that the media has to be drafted between the 4th and 7th round. Maybe one of them go undrafted. Who knows? But that's how this is going. So I'm going to just list off the names. We got Holton Hill, Quentin Meeks, Isaac Yadon, Nick Nelson, Teron Johnson, Perry Nickerson, Michael Joseph, Darius Phillips, Greg Stroman, and J.C. Jackson. Those are the players that I'll be talking about in this one. Those are 10 names that I'll be talking about. There's another list of 10 names in part 1, which was the top ones that should be drafted in the first 3 rounds. Mike Hughes, Joshua Jackson, Denzel Ward, Jair Alexander, Isaiah Oliver, Levi Wallace, Carlton Davis, Dante Jackson, Anthony Averett, and Tony Brown. If you hear one of those names, your team drafted that player, please check out part 1. If you already heard the names for this video, so stick around, maybe you'll hear your player, and not maybe, but you will. And if I didn't name a player, please comment, and maybe I'll do it in a later vid talking about them. But it probably wouldn't even make sense because later on, I'll be reviewing every team's draft. And the real special announcement is that in that, I will actually be trying to get fans of these different teams that I can review the draft with. So they can give a perspective of how they feel as a fan, and then I can give a perspective of how I feel as just a watcher of football and as an evaluator for these talents. So anyway, let's just get straight into the video. The first name on the list I'm going to talk about is J.C. Jackson from Maryland. This guy at first was one of, you can consider it a top 5 corner before the season started or kind of during the season. And then he kind of stayed that way until, I believe, the combine. And then his name started to drop a little bit. I think it had a lot to do with he was listed as 6'1" at Maryland and then showed up to the combine just above 5'10". It's one of the weirdest things. I hate when that happens, when you list a player a certain height and they turned up to wherever they get measured at, and they're like 3 inches shorter. So if it's 2 inches shorter, it makes me mad. If they're 1 inch shorter, it doesn't matter. 2 inches shorter is just like, come on. 3 inches shorter is just ridiculous. But anyway, J.C. Jackson, he's a solid corner, but the only thing is that he's a little bit too inconsistent for me. And I still like him. He's from Maryland. He's one of those guys. I'm from Maryland, so I'm a root for my Maryland guys and Baltimore guys. But he's just a guy that I think he's a little bit average as a corner. I don't believe that he's going to be a true number 1 in this league. But if you have a really good corner on the other side, then you're going to have a really solid player when it comes to JC. He's going to be one of those guys that I think he has to be in a certain scheme to play really, really well. I personally think that he'll excel in a straight man-to-man coverage. I don't think he's instinctive enough to play zone. So whether it's a lot of press man or off man, which I kind of think he played a lot more off man at Maryland. And with that inconsistency, maybe he'll be better as a press man corner. So we'll see. But he's one of those corners I still do like pretty good amount. But he's one of those guys that don't expect him to being a savior for your cornerback position. He'll just be another guy that's going to be a solid dude that's going to either be your number 2, number 3, or number 4 corner. And he won't be bad, but he won't be great. Next name on the list is Holton Hill from Texas. this dude surprised me because I didn't know how good he actually would be as a corner. He is the best tackling corner in this draft. The thing about him is that I think that from what I saw, he is a typical Tampa 2 corner. And what that means is that Tampa 2 is a cover 2, where those corners usually play mid-zone or the flat. They play in the low zone or mid-zone. And their responsibilities as a corner is to always make, pretty good tackles, help out in the run, but pretty much take away the deep crossing routes and stuff like that, and take away the mid stuff, the quick hitches, the quick screens, and even slants. And I think that that's what he's going to excel at. He doesn't get beat often, but I think that as the type of corner he is, and he's a bigger type of corner, I think that will be more suited to his skill set because of the tackling ability. And what I saw from when he played at Texas, if he was in the Tampa 2 style, he'll probably be excellent. Next name on the list is Quentin Meeks from Stanford. Smart, physical cornerback. There's a little bit of inconsistency there, though. He is smart, but sometimes you can see a lack in awareness. And he's physical. He's a physical corner. He is a big corner. He is willing to tackle, and he's willing to be aggressive. But just like Holton Hill, with him, he's definitely got deep speed problems. I think he goes against a receiver that can just run deep on people. He's the guy that I wouldn't have him play a speed receiver. I could be okay with Holton Hill playing that, but not him. He's one of those other corners that I think will probably be good in a Tampa 2, and especially a press man Tampa 2 type of defense. A guy that can get his hands on a corner, be physical, and play, just play good like that. I know I'm not going to try to go into him so much. I'm just giving you a perspective, just a quick of what to make you people that's looking that doesn't really know much to understand what these players are without using a lot of big words and a lot of stuff. So, if somebody's watching this and they really know football and they saying, well, this guy's wet, he's not really. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to give you a quick, solid perspective for everybody to understand. And so with Quentin Meeks, that's what I see when I look at him. I don't think he's a great corner, but I think he's a solid corner. Anyway, the next name on the list is Isaac Yadin from Boston College, an aggressive press corner. This is another guy, likes to get his hands on a receiver. Likes to be physical, likes to press guy, likes to press, likes to be physical, likes to be aggressive, just straight up, what I said about the other two guys. He's another guy I wouldn't put in a Tampa 2 with him. I think that he's a little bit more athletic and has a little bit more speed than what you would get from a Meeks or Hill. But he's a guy that, once again, he won't be the best corner that you'll have, but he's definitely a pretty solid corner, and he won't be a bad player to have. Definitely, to me, is a number 2 type of guy. Next name on the list is Nick Nelson from Wisconsin, an underrated small press corner with good feet. This guy, to me, has the chance to really show off when he gets into the league. I think that, once again, sorry, it's hot in here. I've been sitting in a hot car waiting for my wife to get her hair done. But so I'm sweating a lot. But anyway, he's a undersized small press corner with good feet. He is a guy that it's crazy when I watched him. I didn't think he would be that good because he was playing at Wisconsin. It's not that Wisconsin players are not great, but just, that's not a, you typically get guys that are, the DBs are not great there. But recent years, for the Big Ten in general, they are producing pretty solid corners. In my last video, I named a guy Joshua Jackson. So, they're producing pretty good. And that's not a typical school that produces like that. But Nick Nelson was surprised to me. He's a little bit smaller, but with his ability as a press corner, he's another guy that I actually think could play in a Tampa 2 and be really, really good at it. But I think that him as a system, I think that playing in a system like the Patriots or teams that like to kind of use the zone cover skills and like to use guys and put guys around and use their instincts, he's one of those guys that will excel in that type of thing. So if you got him and your team is like a zone type of team, they like to just use their guys and their brains and their intellect, this is a player that will excel for your team. The next name on the list is a small school guy, and a lot of these other guys in them name is going to be small school guys. Actually, you know what? I'm going to wait. I'm going to name 2 more players, and then I'm going to go to the small school guys. Greg Stroman, who is a do-your-job corner, another Patriot type of corner from Virginia Tech. Greg Stroman. If your team picks him in the later rounds, hopefully it's someone like the Patriots. If you're a Patriots fan and you got him, then you got a good corner. Or the Detroit Lions. Matt Patricia is now with the Detroit Lions. You got a pretty good solid corner. He's a do-your-job guy. He just does his job. He's not great at anything. He's not really good. He's not crazy good at anything. He's just solid at every single thing that he does. And that's what I meant as a do-your-job corner. Next name on the list is Darius Phillips from Western Michigan. I thought he was a little bit taller than what he was when I saw him. Western Michigan guy. He's a short, aggressive, playmaking corner with return skills. His biggest thing is that when he gets his hands on the ball, he can take it to the house for a touchdown. This guy, he's short, but he's aggressive and he's a playmaker. The thing that he needs to work on is sometimes he's a little bit lazy in coverage, and he's a little bit lazy when it comes to tackling. This is what has pushed him down and what has not make him a top corner in this draft. If he would just play with a little bit more urgency, a little bit, just a little bit more, willingness, then he would actually be a top corner in this draft. But his laziness has really dropped him in the draft. I do like him, but he just needs to play like he's about to die, like it's the last game of his life. And he just doesn't do that. So, whatever. But the next 3 names on this list are 3 guys that are small school guys. First name on the list is Teron Johnson from Weber State. Teron is small school, good feet. I mean, when I saw him, he had really, really good feet. I don't know about his ball skills. I couldn't see too much of him, but his good feet told me a lot about who he is as a player and what he could become. I think in 2 or 3 years, he's a guy that could become a way better corner than what he is. I don't know if he will ever be a number 1, but he can definitely be a number 2 or number 3 corner. Could definitely be a nickel type of corner. He's just one of those guys that even though I don't believe in developing, he's one of those guys because he's from a small school and I see the potential there. You can mold him into something a little bit better. My whole thing about developing is more about, higher rated players, guys that should be drafted in the first round. That's why I don't believe in development. You don't waste a pick on developing a first round pick. You do that for the later rounds, not the first round. But anyway, like I said, Teron Johnson, small school, good feet. Perry Nicholson from Tulane is a fast, quick corner with really, really good cover skills. And I think that he has a willingness to tackle. It's not like he's a great tackler, and he will get pushed out of plays when wide receivers block him, but his speed is unmatched for anything. And he was one of the fastest corners in the draft. Next to Denzel Ward and Dante Jackson, he was one of the fastest corners. And that speed actually showed up on tape. Now, I didn't get to see a lot of tape of him for this year. I saw, I think, one tape last year that he had and stuff. But when I saw that, I'm like, wow, this dude is actually very underrated. And that 40 time that he ran at 4.32 is actually more, you can see it. And you usually don't see, if a guy's that fast, sometimes you don't see it on tape. I can see it on tape. And as a corner, this guy has some special ability. Another guy like Teron Johnson, I think in 2 or 3 years, he's a guy that's, developing type of dude. And the last name on the list is Michael Joseph from Dubaki. I don't know how to say that school, but he actually recently, NFL actually did something on him, which is kind of crazy that I already was saying something, that I already wrote him down, was already watching him, and NFL actually did an article on him. NFL Network. I mean, not NFL Network, NFL.com. I'm sorry. NFL.com did an article on him. And Michael Joseph is an aggressive corner with good ball skills. Now, he comes from one of the smallest schools you'll ever hear about. But his ball skills is unmatched. And when you talk about potential, this guy has it. But he's one of those guys that I think could possibly be a safety and not a corner, but we'll see when he gets into the NFL where a team that drafts him, where they try to put him. Now, there are a couple of guys that I probably didn't name, but I'm going to name them in my safety video because I think that they will actually play better as safeties than they would as corners. But, and there's about 3 names on that list. One dude from Florida, one dude from Florida State, and another player from, from North Carolina. So, but anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe. Like I said earlier, if I didn't name a player that that you want to know about, please comment that player and I'll do it in a later video, probably before the draft. Please share this video so other people can see this video, and please hit that like button. Once again, I am Draft Raw Authentic, and before I say my official goodbye, if there's anybody out there that is a fan of any football team, please hit me up in the comment section, or please hit me up on Facebook inbox.